do it every Tuesdays. We are a little bit late today. It normally happens at 10 past 10, but we had to swap it around and be able to have a conversation with our HIV guest. Steve Takiris, a friend of the show, standing in for Charmaine again. He is with us. He is a wellness expert, coach, strategist, thinker, author, poet. The list is quite long. Steve, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Sam. Thanks. Good to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Let's reflect on the conversation we had last week.
Yeah, right. So last week we kind of spoke about the topic of it's the festive season, and it's a time of year. First of all, it's been quite a challenging year for a lot of people, myself included. I think it's been quite a rough year. And now coming up to this festive season, a lot of people actually suffer from loneliness, from depression, from the difficulty of the year. So last week we kind of spoke about the stress that comes from that, but also the stress that comes from normal life. The one question that you asked me that I really liked, that we didn't really get into, which maybe we can get into more today, is I said that it's important for us to self-reflect. Okay, another word for that might be meditate. A lot of people don't like the word meditate. That's okay, self-reflection. And you asked a good question. You said, why self-reflect, and also how can we make self-reflection safe? So I wanted to kind of address that a little bit more maybe today in today's conversation and go a little bit deeper into the why and the how that we can self-reflect. Also, we introduced something called the wellness balance sheet last week. So that was the idea of taking your life, because this is the Wealth Zen, and putting not a financial balance sheet, but a balance sheet to do with your wellness, your spiritual wellness, your relationships, your health, your work. And in that balance sheet, you have your liabilities, which are things that went wrong this year, maybe things that make you angry, maybe things that make you anxious. Those are your liabilities, the mistakes you made. But then you also have the assets, is how do you turn your liabilities into assets? How can you learn from those mistakes? And basically also what I'd like to touch on today is how can we wrap our minds around the year that we've had and actually go into 2026 making it a more nourishing, creative and healthy year all around, I think.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important. The issue of self-reflection, though, is something that as you said, some people call it meditation, other people call it something, but it is always a challenging conversation with oneself. So take us through the process of self-reflection.
Well, the first thing I'd like to address is why should we self-reflect, right? And also, I'd like to address our listeners today, not only those that are feeling down, lonely, depressed. Maybe a lot of people had a great year. This is for you as well, because self-reflection is a practice that applies to everybody. Life is an instrument. And I think last week I used that metaphor of saying you need to play your instrument, you need to practice your instrument. And life being an instrument, we need to practice that. And that's what self-reflection is. It's the practice of life. But why? Why would we do it? Well, here's the thing, is that the very present moment that we face, we created from our past, right? Our past actions, our past thoughts, our past emotions created this present moment. And likewise, this present moment or our present moments will create our future. And here's the thing, without self-reflection, a lot of the times we drag the past into the future by not reflecting, by not learning from our mistakes, by not learning from the things that we did right. And we actually drag the past into the future and we repeat the past in the future, which can sometimes be a problem. The subconscious mind is the thing that creates for us. And if we don't self-reflect, we don't know what's in there. We really don't know what's in there. We think we do. We say the past's in the past and I'm going to leave it there. But the truth is, subconsciously, we still carry certain resentments, certain angers, certain fears. And if we don't reflect, we bring those fears, those subconscious ideas into the present moment, and we recreate them in the future. So there's a lot of people that will have great relationships, but they struggle financially, right? There's other people struggle financially, have great relationships. There's other people have great relationships, great finances, but they struggle with their health. All of these things are things that we need to reflect upon and say, like, how are we creating that? Because we are co-creators. As human beings, we are extremely powerful beings. We create through our thoughts, through our feelings, through our emotions, through our actions. And so the why do we self-reflect is because we want to take the best out of what we did in the past and carry it through. And we want to learn from the mistakes that we made and actually make changes. That's the reason why. So that's the most important thing. Otherwise, people won't do it unless they understand why would you do it.
Are there ways of self-reflecting that involves, if it's not meditation, people hate that word.
Yes.
self-reflection through writing, self-reflection through what? What are the various ways that one can self-reflect?
There are so many ways, but the first and foremost important thing, and this is this time of year, we also touched upon last week, we've got time, right? Because we're going into the festive season, a lot of people are not going to be working,
Yes.
and that scares a lot of people, so they get busy in another way. They get busy socializing, they get busy so that they don't have to face themselves. So the first step in self-reflection is you've got to slow down. Like, we live in a super fast world with social media, with online presence, with it's a never-ending, never-stopping world. So the first thing is we've got to slow down. So how do you do that? That's before you even start writing or you start meditating or you start doing anything. You need to learn to slow down. This is a thing that I'm going to say that a lot of people are not going to do because it's so simple. One of the easiest, simplest way to reset your nervous system, because what happens is our nervous system gets deregulated. It really does, because we run on fast beta brainwave activity. We're always stressed. So our nervous system is literally out of alignment. The easiest way, the best way, the quickest way to get it back into alignment is through your breath. Your breath is always with you. And it sounds like such a simple thing that people are going to say, like, why even bother doing it? But that's the first step in self-reflection, is you've got to slow down. And the way you do it is you breathe. And what do I mean? People will say, of course I breathe. I'm breathing all the time. I mean conscious breathing. Take 5 minutes to take deep in breaths, but more importantly, take long out breaths. Because what happens with that, if you do it for 5 minutes, you can try it now, unless you're driving, is take nice deep breaths in and take an out breath that's double the length of your in-breath. You do it for 5 minutes, and I promise you what will happen is your nervous system instantly becomes regulated again. You start to feel calmer, and then by slowing down like that, you can then decide, okay, if you do this several times a day, or if you do it every day as a practice, you start to become more aware, more conscious, slow down, and you're able to self-reflect. Then there are other ways to self-reflect. You can write, you can use ChatGPT. I know you're a fan of that. You can talk to ChatGPT.
I am, I'm not gonna lie.
My therapist is Gemini. I use Gemini, and we talk on a daily basis about all sorts of issues.
Yeah, I think it's been used for stuff that people did not realize.
I think so. So the first step, Sam, is to slow down, and there really is nothing more powerful than the breath to do that.
Okay. I think everything you have said so far is deeply practical, right? Deeply practical. And I think we are going to have to take stock, especially if you have, and it's so interesting, I have now met a group, loads of people that have used these words. Oh, it's been a hectic year. Oh, I can't wait to just have quiet time. I feel stressed. Somebody says, I just came from a sabbatical, I was burned out. I know lots of that's the kind of stuff that's floating around. And there are going to be a bunch of people that are going to still have to deal with the year in the way that it's played out. And like we said, you've given excellent examples of people that are financially resourced but are from a medical perspective challenged, all of that kind of stuff. Practically now, so I understand I need the time. I understand I need to go through this process. But here, I don't know if it's a silly question, and I'm happy to be wrapped up with the knuckles. What part of my life do I start reflecting on first? Do I reflect on work? Do I reflect on failed relationships? Do I just sit there and wait for it to come to me? I don't know if it's a silly question, but which part of it do you reflect on? And if you're reflecting on it, must there be an outcome?
That's an excellent question. Your question is always excellent. That's why I said to you, I like the direction you take us in. It's an excellent question. You don't have to force this. You see, as human beings, we have resources that we're not aware of. You know, we have the subconscious mind. It knows the answers. It also creates the problems. What we need to do is allow it the space to speak to us. It's almost like we've got two minds. We've got a conscious mind and we've got a subconscious mind, right? The subconscious mind is like the software of your computer. It drives everything, but you don't even know it. Now, the nature of the question suggests that we will solve this problem with a conscious mind, with the thinking mind, and that's not how it happens. What we need to do is take the time, slow down, and provide the space for the subconscious mind to start speaking to us. So just by doing the breathing, for example, on a daily basis, it already starts to It regulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which, by the way, is the part of the nervous system that is the rest and restore, rest and digest, rest and repair. So it starts to actually, our nervous system, this is physiological, this is not esoteric stuff anymore. It used to be Eastern esoteric wisdom. Now it's been proven by science. It's like the parasympathetic nervous system will start to rest your body, rest your mind, rest and restore, rest and repair. And so after practicing these kinds of things, I mean, you have to do it. It is practical. So it's kind of like I can give you the theory, but unless someone tries it, they're not going to really get the benefits of it. If you start slowing down on a daily basis, if you start flagging your subconscious mind that you want to know what you need to sort out, it will start flagging you. So ideas will start coming. And then you can use any method that you want. You can write them down, you can jot them down, you can just think about them. So you will be led into the process if you allow the space for the subconscious mind, because it's the subconscious mind that's going to solve this problem.
So making a list of what bothers me is not necessarily the way to go.
It's not, but it could be a way to start, because you're saying to your subconscious mind, these are the things that are bothering me. But then leave it, because if you start to obsess about it, you cannot solve a problem. I think it was Einstein that said this. You can't solve the problem at the same level that it was created. You need a different perspective. So if you try and solve the problem with your conscious mind, all you're going to do is regurgitate and recreate.
And have the feelings.
And
that anxiety.
Exactly. So yes, make a list of this bothers me. These are the things that are going wrong. And by the way, these are the things that went right in my life as well, because we don't have to focus on, surely all of us, even the worst year that we've had some good moments as well. So kind of make a...
That's very important just to reframe for some people. Even in the worst year we've had, there has been good things.
Yes, of course.
Very important.
And some of those things are simple. I mean, they're not necessarily massive things. The fact that you might have your health, maybe you've got financial issues, but your health is great. I mean, that's priceless. Maybe you've developed a new relationship. Maybe you've got a new pet. I mean, like, it could be anything. You just reflect on both those things, and then you allow the space for your mind to start giving you the answers. You need to do this on a daily basis. It's like saying, listen, I want to get fit. Do I go to gym and do I start working on strength on the legs or the arms well, you got to do everything, but you're not going to get fit in a day or a week or a month. You need to practice this thing.
Yeah.
You need to take time.
And if you don't know, you need to bring in an expert that will be able to guide you through that, to say, listen, if you're, as we're using the example of a gym, if you're going to the gym and you're overwhelmed, that's why you have a trainer, and the trainer will sit down, or you go for an assessment at least.
Exactly.
So that you have a sense and somebody can work out a plan. Some of us play well with others, some of us like to do stuff on our own. But getting a sense and a grasp of where you are at is the first step in the ability to be able to fix that thing or fix yourself. Okay, now that you've explained that the process is going to, don't force it, right?
Yeah.
It's a natural process. What do you say to the person, and there are many of us, that it's not going to fix my problems? It's not going to solve where I'm at. I need more than that. I do believe now, and I never used to believe this, but I believe that awareness is a secret weapon.
It is. Yeah.
Awareness. So even if you're the big strong guy who never cries or whatever, or you're that kind of person, but are you aware? Are you aware of your state, or are you reactive to your state? And I think that reflection, whether you want to call it meditation, whatever it may be, journaling, whatever it is, that being aware and being conscious of why you are feeling the way you're feeling, why you think things are going wrong, being conscious of that is the first step in, even if it's a baby step, it's the first step on a path to something. Than feeling helpless.
Absolutely is. It's the biggest power. And let me tell you something. We have been lied to in our society, Sam. We have been told that we are these small things, that we have to tap into the system. I'm being a bit rebellious here. Maybe there's a few people who are not going to like these things. But we have to tap into the systems. We have to conform. What we are told we are, we have been lied to. We are much, much more powerful than we think we are. We just need to exercise that right. And awareness is the key thing, because when you start to become aware, you start to realize, hey, man, this is true. I'm much more than I was ever told. And you talk about the tough guy who's like, he's going to hold it together, and
Tough woman.
Or the tough woman as well. Yeah, absolutely.
I never cry. I mean,
Exactly.
I have to be strong for everybody else.
Well, you're going to break down eventually, I promise you. And I'm not saying you're going to have to walk around crying all day or being a mess, but you need to be able to say, listen, life is tough sometimes. I'm strong and I can handle it. That's the positive message. But you do need to make changes. You do need to express yourself. You do need to express your emotions. Emotions are the most powerful things we have as human beings. It's energy in motion. But if we track it in the right direction, it can be very empowering. If we block it, it can be very disempowering. But to your point, awareness is the number one thing. You need to be aware. And that's where self-reflection comes in.
Friday we had Craig Wilkinson in studio. And I want to talk specifically about this because we are still in the midst of, and tomorrow we'll have a conversation about gender-based violence from an organization called Heartlines. We'll have that conversation. But this is also a very tough period for, and I'm not for a moment trying to trivialize the other part. I'm speaking specifically to one aspect of it. There's also a tough time for men who maybe you are the breadwinner and you've not been able to deliver. Christmas is looming. There's a lot of stuff, especially for the men that play that archetype role.
Mm.
And also, I think sometimes it's easier not to tie into stereotypical gender roles, but I think it's easier sometimes for women to be expressive and deal with their emotions than for men. If you're a man and you're going through a very tough time in this period, it could be because you didn't deliver. It could be that you feel you're not delivering. It could be financial reasons. What is that process like for you? I mean, it might still be reflection, but how would you want us to start even going on that journey? Do we start by saying, actually, it's okay, I'm a human being? What is it?
Absolutely, because it goes back to the point I made about social constructs. The fact that a man is not meant to be to express their emotions is a social construct. It's not a reality. It's something that we either buy into or don't buy into. So when you start to admit, in order to solve any problem, you need to acknowledge that the problem exists or the challenge exists. And so the first thing to do is to cut yourself some slack. I mean, we're human beings. This is hard. Life is not for sissies. It's a hard thing. Yeah. So cut yourself some slack, man.
I have a t-shirt somewhere in my cupboard that says, life is not for sissies.
It's not. It's very tough. And whether you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter. We all face challenges, you know. We shouldn't fall into stereotypical kind of patterns because those create problems. It's just allow your innate inner power to come out. And the way to do that is to sometimes say, hey, I'm tired. I've had a tough year. I'm telling you, I mean, I'm supposed to be the expert in this thing, but I'm also human. I've had a tough year and I need to be able to acknowledge that. And let me tell you something, all the stuff that I teach, I practice because that's what keeps me going. You know what I mean? If I had to pretend that I was some guru greater than anybody else, I mean, that would be ridiculously stupid because then I wouldn't be able to. I'm a human being. That's what I am. And so it's not about pretending to be anything else. It's not about forming any, because the guru is also a stereotypical kind of archetype, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's meant to know everything. No.
He's transcendent.
He's transcendent. That's right. As you can see, I'm not levitating. I'm sitting in the chair. So it's like I'm human like everybody else.
Yeah. Cutting slack, though, and I love what you're saying. Cut yourself some slack, right? And I know I said it's being human, but cutting one's slack starts with what?
Good question. Good question. Cutting one's slack, I think, starts with forgiving your mistakes, which is in itself quite hard for certain people, even for myself, because I beat myself up. Also acknowledging yourself for the good that you've done, because like we said, there's negative things that have happened and there's positive things that have happened. So cutting yourself some slack means this is tough. I think it starts with that. It's understanding, hey, we live in and especially the modern world, so much pressure is put upon us. Also, social media creates these images.
Can we also cut each other's slack? If you are in a relationship, if you are with somebody who you can see is trying, if you are with someone who because sometimes we feed off each other.
Yes, we do.
And you know, sometimes we are couples, we're in relationships, friendships, work, whatever it may be, work husbands, work wives. Can we cut each other slack?
I think we can, and I think we can definitely learn from each other. And it brings to mind a story which is very recent for me. My girlfriend and I had a conversation just last week.
Yeah.
We are different types of people in that she likes to, I do something, and then she'll kind of pat me on the back as if I've conquered the world. And I feel like I haven't done enough. Doesn't matter how much I do. So she's got the pattern of tapping on the back and acknowledging, and I've got the pattern of like, it's not enough.
Yeah.
So we sat and looked at that, and we said, well, what can we learn from each other? Actually, because both of these things are positive. Patting yourself on the back is important. It's important to acknowledge yourself, right? But for me, if I just pat myself on the back, what I'll do is I'll take my foot off the pedal and I'll chill, right? So I need to push more by believing I haven't done enough. But I need to balance both. I need to first, pat myself on the back and then push. She needs to do the opposite. She needs to also push a little bit harder, not just pat herself on the back. Do you know what I mean? So I think we learn from each other. We don't live, no person is an island. And so you're right, cutting each other slack. And also, but I think it starts with cutting ourselves slack. I think it starts with, you need to acknowledge what you've done as a person, because you can't, if you're not cutting yourself slack, you're not going to cut somebody else slack either. It's like when I'm hard on myself, I tend to be harder on other people. Whereas when I acknowledge myself, I can also acknowledge, hey, you know what, Sam's had a tough year as well.
You can recognize the humanity in other people.
Yes.
Recognize that people are not perfect. People are, in most instances, I think inherently call me naive, but I think most people are good. I don't think we live in a dystopian society where the overwhelming majority of us are constantly obsessing about how to do the others in. I don't think we live in that.
I agree with you.
I think the overwhelming, it's easy to get kind of caught up in this idea that there's a lot of criminals and everybody is corrupt, and that's not the truth. It's really a very small percentage of people that dominate the headlines.
Yes.
But the overwhelming majority of us want good for our families, want good for our partners, want good for ourselves. We might not have the tool set to be able to, first of all, visualize it, express it, manifest it, whatever the words you want to use. And I think that's lacking, but I don't often meet people that think they are the worst and the most horrible. I think I meet loads of people that want to do well for others and wish others well. That doesn't mean you are excluded from professional jealousies and all the other stuff, but inherently that's what we're about. Your 5 tips for somebody listening as we're now going in today. It's officially the 2nd of December. We are rapidly moving. People are having the end of year parties. Your 5 top tips to navigate December.
Okay, let me think. The first thing is slow down. Slow down on a daily basis. And I would say use your breathing technique. It's simple, 5 minutes a day. Trust me, 5 minutes a day. Deep breath in and double the breath out. And just allow your parasympathetic nervous system to regulate itself, number 1. Number 2, try and have a bit of fun. Fun is always something which, and for different people, fun is a different thing, it could be going to, playing with your pet. It could be being with friends. It could be whatever.
It could be puzzles, whatever it may be.
Anything. Have some fun, because it helps to regulate you once again.
And actually, I met somebody who said that you need to schedule it. If you're the kind of person who fun seems as an arbitrary thing for you.
Yes.
Schedule fun.
Yes. Well, I have a friend who lives in Italy who his life is all about fun, so it's easy for him. But there's certain people like myself, I'm more serious. So you're right. You have to schedule it. So that's another thing. The third thing is spend time in nature. Really, even if you're in the middle of a city, we've got parks. Or even if there's just a tree, sit under a tree, look at the greenery around you. Again, we have evolved as human beings, and nature is part of us, so that's also important. Another thing that I would say is detox a little bit from your device. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to give me pushback on this, and I'm not going to like to hear that. But detox from your device. Get off your phone, man. Don't set a time, set an online sunset. We say after a certain time, you don't touch your phone at night. After 7 o'clock, let's say, go to sleep without looking at your phone. Don't look at your phone first thing in the morning. Just try it for a week. I think that's going to make a difference. And then what can I say for the 5th thing? I would say let's do a 3-2-1. The 3-2-1 being 3 things that really went well in the year for you, 3 things that you really succeeded on. Just kind of write them down. 2 things that you really failed at. Okay? And one thing that you can do differently going into the new year based on what you've learned from your mistakes and from the things you've done right.
Steve Zakiris, love it. Thank you. Always a pleasure getting your insights. You can Google him. He is all over the place.
By the way, sorry, I want to give a gift to people.
Yes.
There is a free meditation on my website. It's free.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go to the website, subscribe, put your email in, and it's a free meditation. You can use it on your phone. You can use it on your computer.
Steve Zakiris?
SteveTsakiris.com. TSAKIRIS. SteveTsakiris.com.
And it's absolutely free.
Yep.